The current news that Ukrainian state-owned enterprises have been completely taken over by US investment giants once again proves our basic judgment over the years: war is a business for the United States, and since it is a business, it cannot lose money. Go back, and once you encounter soft bones that compromise and give in, you will eat the other party in one bite. This is why we have been calling for years that there must be no compromise with the United States. For many years, especially in recent years, we have been saying that Taiwan is a matter of life and death for China, and a matter of business for the United States. As long as China can risk its life to defend its own life and death, the United States will definitely be in Taiwan. In terms of issues, including the South China Sea, the East China Sea and a series of issues related to China's life and death, give up provocations against China and accept peaceful cooperation with China. It was for this reason that Chairman Mao insisted on confronting the United States tit for tat and adopting the policy of fighting if it failed. And if the compromise continues, the result will be like Ukraine, where the wealth of the entire country belongs to the United States. It's just that China will be even more miserable than Ukraine at that time. Not only the wealth will belong to the United States, but even the country will be completely disintegrated. Doesn't Ukraine understand this truth? Doesn't Ukraine know that if the Russia-Ukraine war continues like this, the entire country's wealth will be taken over by the United States? It's not that Ukraine doesn't understand, it's that the rich bureaucrats who got rich first during the reform, their property and relatives have been transferred to the United States and other Western countries, and they have integrated with the elites of the United States, Europe, and other Western countries, forming a worldwide unity. Their class interests. Their main enemy is neither Russia, which is at war, nor the United States, which is embezzling all Ukrainian state assets, but the Ukrainian people. For decades, they have plundered all the wealth of the Ukrainian people under the banner of reform and opening up, and now they have sold all the resources that the Ukrainian people rely on for their survival and development to the United States. They have formed a life and death conflict with the Ukrainian people. Class hatred. They know that the Ukrainian people will definitely liquidate them, even if they die. They will liquidate their descendants and recover the property of the Ukrainian people. Therefore, for the safety of their families and future generations, they must completely destroy the country of Ukraine no matter what, and it is best to be completely divided. This is determined by class interests and has nothing to do with personal conduct. When family interests and national interests conflict, the more a person is a good husband, father, or son, the more he will destroy the country. Only in this way, their relatives and future generations will enjoy their corrupt property forever. It can be seen that it is by no means Russia that really provoked the Russia-Ukraine war, but the US monopoly capital and the Ukrainian bureaucrats. Let Ukraine be divided or occupied, so as to keep your family safe. At the same time, it can also achieve a series of goals such as weakening Russia and uniting Western capitalist countries. Today, all Ukrainian state-owned assets belong to the United States, which is the most favorable proof. Over the years, we have been emphasizing and increasingly emphasizing that although the United States and other Western imperialist countries are very eager to disintegrate and destroy China, those who are most eager to destroy China are those corrupt bureaucrats and original sin tycoons who get rich first through reforms, because they know that the astronomically huge wealth they have plundered through corruption exceeds the total GDP of the world, and every cent of it is soaked in the blood of the Chinese people and many innocent lives that have been lost as a result. They know that the people will never let them go, and they will never let the people live well, so the best way for them is to choose the Li Hongzhang model and completely sink the big ship of China, and not just like Li Hongzhang that would only allow the Qing to destroy the country, but also the Chinese nation. Only by completely destroying the country and genocide in China can future troubles be eliminated forever, and no one will liquidate their children and grandchildren and recover their corrupt assets. Over the years we have been saying that the Chinese nation has once again reached the most dangerous time, including this important aspect. In response to the 50-cent parties Taiwan for peace and South China Sea for peace, we have been emphasizing for many years that we must not embark on the road of no return to compromise with the United States. Once we step on it, we will never die. Because the relationship between China and the United States is not just a simple national conflict, but the Chinese elite group is willing to assist the United States to completely disintegrate China from within. Since someone wants to destroy China from within, why not accept the result of winning without a fight? Back then, the Empress Dowager Cixi, who was roughly as talented as Empress Lu and Wu Zetian, initially accepted the deceit of today's 50-cent party, thinking that as long as she compromised, surrendered land and paid compensation, she would be able to get peace and development. The great powers settled the ledger. It was only later that the Empress Dowager Cixi finally found out that compromise was a dead end, so she held her head high and declared war on the Western powers. This was originally a road of hope, but her class nature determined that she did not believe in the Boxers, dared not arm the Boxers, and finally surrendered to the West. The great powers joined forces to destroy the Boxers. If the Empress Dowager Cixi opened the arsenal and armed the Boxers with the Maxine heavy machine guns that were later taken away by the 8-nation Allied forces, it would be easier for the 300,000 Boxers to wipe out less than 20,000 8-nation Allied forces than to drink cold water. At that time, the reason why the 8-power Allied forces spared the Empress Dowager Cixi and the Qing dynasty and did not overthrow them was mainly because the Boxer regiment's magnificent anti-Japanese movement made Western powers understand that they were incapable of conquering China, so they chose to let the Qing dynasty, the weaker ruling group, will rule China for them, because the weaker the ruling group is, the more ruthless it will be at home. The killing of the Boxers by the late Qing government is a typical example. It is a pity that today's Chinese people are fooled by the 50-cent party, and are repeating the mistakes of the Empress Dowager Cixi, thinking that sacrificing Taiwan and the South China Sea can be exchanged for time for peaceful development, and they will take back Taiwan and the South China Sea when they become stronger in the future. But the kind Chinese people have forgotten one of the simplest logics: can wolves wait for sheep to become stronger than themselves? Can the United States not do anything when it can destroy China and wait for China to become stronger before doing it? Let's open the map and take a look. Once China loses Taiwan and the South China Sea, can it still become stronger? Isn't the consequence of losing all state-owned enterprises in Ukraine to the United States not painful enough? Related reading: U.S. investment giant takes over all Ukrainian state-owned enterprises for free, including energy and power grids. July 4, 2023.